Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode 162. I am Hans, one half of this great show that we have here, the first and only podcast that is directly for all you night vision and thermal hog and predator hunters. We're glad that you're joining us again today. I got my good buddy, Mr. Jason Robertson of Outdoor Legacy. He is the owner. He is everything that has to do with that company and this show. So I don't say
that's
everything, but
a
large part of what we do.
There we go. Yeah, I'll take that, but not everything. No, not at all.
So we appreciate you being here, Jason. How you doing, bud?
Man, I'm doing good. I am doing good. How are you?
Good. You know, we had I'm going to say we had a very good episode last week, but episode 161 was all about the Sightmark Wraith HD versus the Sightmark Wraith 4K Max. It generated a lot of good response on the YouTube comments. Got a lot of good discussion going, a lot of questions. You know, we get to see this stuff every day. We talk about, you and I talk all day, every day. We test these optics. We hunt with them. We do everything that everybody wishes they could do. We're lucky enough that we get to do it. But, you know, we sometimes forget how confusing some of these things can be, especially to people that are brand new to it. And these two scopes that are some of the most popular night vision scopes to come out on the market. And that's just by sales counting and numbers.
Right.
But man, there's just been a lot of questions. I think it spurred a lot of questions. I think it may have caused people to have more questions than when they started out, but that's okay. But there's a lot of great feedback, and I want to invite everybody, if you didn't tune in, go check out episode 161, and that is the Sightmark Wraith HD versus the 4K Max. But I know you've been answering a lot of questions that came out of it, and I've been talking to a lot of people as well.
I've had a lot of phone calls. I mean, today I had a guy who called, left a message with Michaela there in the office, and he said, I'm thinking about the HD and the 4K, and he had some questions about them. And I was kind of thinking, well, when I talk to him, I'm going to answer his questions, but I'm going to direct him towards the show. And I called him back a little while later, and he said, well, I really feel bad. I think I'm wasting your time. And I said, why is that? And he said, because I've been watching your show from last week. And he said, I think it's answered almost all my questions. So we talked a little bit, and he decided that for him, he was going to get the 4K. He's like, I was really torn between the two. He said, I think either one would do me well. But he said, I've seen the HD and liked it. He goes, but you know what? I think I'm going to go with 4K and try the better image quality. So, again, like we said last week, I think they're both great optics, and I don't think there's anything wrong at all with buying one of the HDs if that's what works better for you. And just because something's more expensive doesn't always mean it's better for you. So I think it was a good show, and again, we've had a lot of good comments, and hopefully it cleared up a little bit of confusion anyway. So excited about it. But
yeah, exactly. And I tell you, you talking to a guy. I talked to a guy last week who called up who watches the show, and I said hi to him, and he said, "Oh, you're the other guy that does the show with Jason, right?"
Oh, gosh.
And I said, "Yeah, I'm the other guy." But yeah, Jason.
Let me tell you, people don't even know who I am. They just know that you're too busy out there kissing babies, signing autographs. So
I will say this, because it was a comment that made me laugh. Then we'll get into the review. So, but we had a comment one time, and the guy said, "You and I are not." We don't have big egos, and we laugh at ourselves. We do a good job of laughing at ourselves. But the guy said, obviously he's not a regular listener, but he said, when I saw the guy's face on the left, when he was talking about the video on YouTube. So when he looked at it, the face on the left, he said, when I saw the guy's face on the left, I knew that this was going to be a stupid show or something like this.
He did.
By looking at my face. And
and
first of all, I was like, I was trying to remember, because when you tell me I wouldn't look at the video, I was like, okay, whose face is on the left?
I know. I had to actually go to the video to look to see. I had a 50-50 shot. Well, that's okay because
my face, I guess, tends to make people think this is going to be a stupid show, but that's
well, that's okay, because we had another guy who left a comment one time that said I was the most arrogant little man that he'd ever seen. Or so I was like, arrogant? I'm a lot of things, but that's not one of them. Yeah. I may be a little man, but I am not arrogant. I'm like, Golly. No, it's funny. Well, listen, we do have a great show this week. This is something that we've actually been putting off reviewing just because we had so many other things to review and to go over. And Hans and I were like, man, we still haven't done this. So we queued it up, and that is the new Pulsar Helion 2 XQ38 thermal monocular. Now, I want to be clear here. This is the Helion 2. And so the original Helion XQ38 came out back in January of 2017. And this unit came out in early 2021. And is that right? I'm saying 2021. Did it come out at the end of the year last year? I don't know. It's all ran together around. It's only been out a few months, but anyway,
it's been since the first of the year because we're in right now. We're filming this in June, beginning of June 2021. So that's
right. So my years run together, my months and days. But no, so it is still fairly new on the market. You're right. It hadn't been there that long. But anyway, we've been putting it off just because, like I said, we were too busy. But we finally got around to it. I was using the unit a good bit when it first came out, tested it, was really impressed with it. Hans has had one in his hands now. He's been testing it and seeing what he thinks out there in the field. So tonight, that's what we're going to bring y'all is the review of the Helion 2 XQ38. So take it away, Hans, and tell them all about this thing.
Well, I know all of you out there love to hear the specs. I think most of them are rooting for me to fail somehow and screw these up. So you know what, y'all? When y'all listen to the show, I write out the show notes. I've got all the specs written out, and I still end up screwing up something. So I got my good buddy there to catch me though. We're gonna start out with the price because it seems like we always miss the price. But price on this is $2,999.97. It's a 384 by 288 thermal core resolution, 17 micron. Starts out on 3 power and goes up to 12 power magnification. It's got the new sub 40 NETD thermal sensor. So that is a sub 40 millikelvin sensor on it. That's what all the hype has been about the Helion 2s, the Thermion 2s. It's this new upgraded sensor that they put in these things. It's a 1024 by 768 full color HD AMOLED display, and it is 50 hertz refresh rate. It has got, which is one of my huge likes, because as y'all know, if you watch and watch any of my videos, I run the Helion. It's got the 10-hour battery pack on it. And man, these batteries are great, but I'll save that for the likes. It has a 10-hour battery pack on it, rechargeable, image boost detail. A lot of people say, well, what's it made out of? Well, it kind of feels like hard plastic, but the scientific word for it is magnesium alloy. So if you're wanting to know exactly what it's made out of, it is made out of magnesium alloy. It's got a 1,476 yard detection range. It's IPX7 rated, so it's submersible to 3 feet for up to 30 minutes. It will work in temperatures all the way down to negative 13 degrees Fahrenheit. It's got multiple color palettes, picture-in-picture display, internal video and audio recording, and it is Wi-Fi capable with the Stream Vision app. So that is a quick rundown of the specs. If you want to find more, and you want to read these specs in person, you can go and hop on over to the OutdoorLegacyGear.com website. You can find all the information there. That's really where we get a lot of our information, straight from the Pulsar website as well. So taking a look around the scope, this is the opportunity that we give you people out there, the great viewers and listeners. So if you're listening in the car on the way home, you want to see what this thing looks like, get home, pull up YouTube, type in the Late Night Vision Show. So we talk about, we've reviewed a lot of monoculars, I say, in the last 12 months. There's just been so many that come out. The Helion, the form factor of the Helion has really, in large part, has not changed too considerably much. Really about the same size. Dimensions are still about the same. The button layouts are pretty similar. So you've got the 4-button layout here with the blue power button. That's different. It's got the blue power button. So that's how you know it's a Helion 2, right?
That's right. That's what you're paying for, is a blue button.
It's it's like when we were younger, and I just way off topic, but when we were younger and people would drive a Chevy truck, but they wanted to drive the Z71, so they'd get the Z71 stickers and put them on the side of the Chevy truck.
That's right.
Just so people thought it had the Z71 package on it. Well, if you see anybody that's sticking a blue sticker on these buttons, but it ain't real, they're just copying it. The real one's got the blue. I don't know how I got off on thinking about the old Z71 stickers.
Way off in the weeds.
I am. So we got the buttons right here. Controls anything with short presses and long presses, going to the menu, changing your color palettes, your magnification. It starts, you got here starting your recording, starting and stopping recording. But again, very good ambidextrous design right here. You've got an objective lens focus on the front, as always. You've got your eyepiece diopter focus here on the very front, where the eyepiece is. Jason's favorite part of the Helion, the hand strap. I mean, this little $2 part strapped on
about the hand
He loves
strap.
that hand. I tell you what, if you're a new company, you want to make thermals, if you put a hand strap on there, Jason will sell it with a smile on his face. I promise you.
I need a hand strap. I need that thing so I can palm it.
Exactly. Your battery pack right here is controlled by this lever on top. You flip that up, battery pulls right off. It is a one-piece removable battery, so you can purchase an extra battery pack. I talked to a guy today. He's like, so, I can buy an extra battery pack and take it out in the field? Absolutely. And that'll give you, if you have two batteries, it's 20 hours of continuous runtime. And heaven help you if you're out there for that long. I have 124 hours, and it is not fun. It is not fun.
Thank you.
So that's a walk around. Like I said, if you're not familiar with the Helion design, it is a. I know Jason's going to go over the weight of this thing, but the design of it makes it where. You and I have used the Helions for a long time, the different models of the Helions. And, I mean, you just get – when you put your hand in the hand strap, the buttons are just right there where your fingertips are. I mean, it's just kind of perfect. It just feels really natural. But so, anyway, if you're new to the Helion design, this is what we would probably call a standard design for a thermal monocular with variations like this out there from other companies. They don't look exactly like this, but some certain type of size of this we've seen quite a few of. So with that being said, you got to see around the scope. You've heard the specs. I know people want to see how far they can see their hogs or their coyotes. How far do you think they can see, Jason?
So I don't know how far you can detect one. I mean, your specs there said something like 1,500 yards. Mm-hmm. And by the way, folks, if you've been watching this whole time that Hans has been talking, I hope you're watching him, not me. I was looking down. I was actually looking for a couple other specs that I wanted to talk about. I was desperately searching, could not find them. So anyway, if you wonder what I was doing, I was not, watching Fox News while Hans was talking.
As long as you're not like checking in on Facebook or something.
No. I was actually looking for something I wanted to talk about and couldn't find it. But so, the actual, how far you can see something and detect that heat. I know that it says 1,500 yards. I don't know. I can't see 1,500 yards. That's a long, long ways. But I think positively identifying on a, good normal night in, good normal conditions. And a lot of people go, wait a minute, what's good and normal? I would say a normal night is a night that it's not raining. It's not just crazy high humidity or dew point. It hadn't been raining all day. Just a normal night out there for most of the year. And then the conditions are going to be either, short grass, a grazed pasture, a cut field, not out there in 24-inch tall, ryegrass or wheat or some kind of a, cornfield that's up top. You got to be able to see the animal. And in those kind of conditions, I think that it's pretty safe to say that a conservative guesstimate, in my opinion, is about 300 yards. Probably further than that in with some experience and good conditions. But I don't think 300 yards is any problem at all. A hog or a coyote, again, in those, normal short grass or, plowed ground or something like that.
No, I think you're right. 300 yards, I think, is a safe number for being able to ID. So, to a lot of people, they're like, okay, so what does that mean? So that means I can, is this monocular going to be good for me? I'm a coyote hunter and is this magnification the right magnification for me, or if I'm a hog hunter, or if I do a little bit of both. 300 yards means that you have a little bit of time to be able to find out and ID what the target is, which means if you got a coyote running in, it may be a little bit more than 300 yards, but if there's something standing there, and you're trying to look out, then yeah, it could be only 300 yards.
Yeah, because I think that's exactly right. Here's the thing, and I tell guys this all the time when it comes to ID ranges. If you're running a coyote call and you got a dying rabbit sound playing, and you're standing in a field, and all of a sudden at 500 or 600 yards, something comes, loping in like a dog, it's probably a coyote. You can process of elimination, and you might look at that and go, well, that's absolutely, I can tell that. And you know that because of what you're doing and what the characteristics and the movements and the way that animal's moving. You go, well, that's obviously a coyote. The good thing is that you're not actually shooting with it. Right. So it doesn't matter. If you misidentify something at 500 yards, it's not the end of the world because you're not shooting at it with a monocular. So, but yeah, I think 300 is very conservative. And if you've got like a deer or something out there, that's another deal. I always say, it's process of elimination sometimes. And if you got a deer at 400 or 500 yards and it lifts its head up, I think you're going to be able to tell. You're going to see that long neck and go, wait a minute, that's not a hog. I may not know if that's a coyote or a calf or a deer at 500 yards, but it's not a hog. Again, you're just kind of figuring that out.
That's why it's so speculative. We're talking about the ID ranges because, like you said, you got a coyote running in. You're playing a call. You're hunting for coyotes, and you see either a black object or a white object, whatever your color palette you got it on, running towards you at 500 or 600 yards. You're probably like, well, there's a 70% chance that's a coyote, and as it gets closer and closer, the percentage of it being a coyote or wherever you're hunting goes up and up. So, but what it does, it gives you time. The only thing what the monocular is there for is to let you know there's an object out there. It could be what you're hunting, and gives you time to set up your rifle scope for the shot. So you see a coyote or you see something running in at 500 or 600 yards, that you say, okay, it's probably a coyote. Now it's time to switch over to the rifle scope. I think what matters when we're talking about ID ranges and base magnifications, I think it's more important we look at the magnifications and is this, too much magnification? I think that's where you get into more of a problem is, people that are hunting and the type of hunting you're doing, and is the magnification too high? Is it not high enough because I can't see out far enough? I hope all of that makes sense. I know it's hard to do something or be specific on something that's speculative like this, but it's good to understand that the base magnification and the I guess closeness of what your normal targets are, what you're trying to do, is more important. I believe.
Yeah. So what I would say is this is going to be a very good monocular for, again, we've been talking about coyotes. I think it's a great monocular for a coyote hunter because you're hunting a smaller animal that a lot of times is going to be coming in at a longer range. And when I say coyote hunter, I got to be clear. I understand. I talked to a guy today who said he hunts coyotes, but he's on fields that are small. He can't see over 150 yards. I don't think this is the monocular for him. Right. I actually was advising him on something that was 1.5 power. I said, you don't want to get very low because you want a wide field of view. You don't need much magnification. You're just trying to quickly see it. And if you're at, say, again, 100, 150 yards, when he sees that animal, he doesn't have long. So he's got to be able to see it quickly. If you're hunting on bigger fields and you're looking out there at 300, 400, 500, 600 yards, I think this is a great monocular. I think if you're going to be looking for, a mile out there, you may want more magnification. You may want more than this, but I think for an average, 3 power is really good for that. I think it works for hog hunters that are hunting in, plowed ground, agriculture fields, big fields. And I say agriculture, I mean, I'm thinking like farm ground. I'm thinking plowed ground where they can see a long, long ways out there. If you're just hunting in East Texas or the normal South, conditions of smaller pastures, or maybe I talk to guys up in Wisconsin and Indiana. Sometimes they're hunting in, smaller fields and openings. This might be a little more magnification than you want. I think that you need to be on some bigger fields. And I want to say something here. I used a Helion XQ38, 3-power, the original model. I used that for over a year, maybe a year and a half as my main monocular. And hunting right down here in East Texas, hunting hogs most of the time, and I made it work. But I really kind of wanted to see if I could do it. I mean, and it was just, I was really trying to use it, and it worked. I made it work. It was so much better than not having the monocular. But in reality, when I went back to a lower magnification, I was just like, it was just such a relief. It was so nice going, okay, wider field of view. I'm seeing more, quicker and easier. So again, I think it just depends on how big your fields are and what your terrain is like. If you're on more open ground, whether it is hogs or coyotes, I think this is a very good option. If you're in tighter quarters, I'm going to say it's probably a little more magnification than you want.
Exactly. Yeah. And in the world of monoculars right now, 3-power is kind of in the middle, because there are, there's monoculars out there that have quite a bit higher magnification than this. So it's kind of right there in the middle as far as options. But, what will get you hating life is if you are hunting small fields and riding around on a mule or side by side, or and you're trying to scan with something that's got a little bit higher base magnification. You will get the worst headache of your life if you're anything like me. Riding around that narrower field of view, that tighter picture on it. It's tough. So if you are doing,
I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, but at the exact same time, if you're in open country and you're riding down that county road or down that farm road somewhere, and you're scanning from the truck and you're looking out there and you can see across the whole section a mile, you're going to want something like this. Perfect. You don't, you're not going to want a 1.5 or 2-power. So
no,
again,
perfect.
You're right. It just depends on how far you're really looking out there.
You don't want to be driving around scanning with this and you're, the furthest objects or what you're staring at is trees at 200 yards, a wall of trees. That's typically what we get, in the southeast, part of the country. That's a lot of that, but there are, other areas where it's more wide open. And if you can, not supposed to scan from the county road, but if you're scanning from fences and you can see, 1,000 yards, and absolutely, I think this is going to be really good for you. So I'm going to start in. You know what? Because I always do this to you. I tell you what I love about it, and then you got to tell us what you don't like about it. So
true. You do it to me every time.
I'm going to talk about what I don't like about this, and I'm going to save all the good news for you.
Good.
The Helion. I'm a huge fan of the Helion. I can't hide it, even in the dislikes part. I'm going to talk about how big of a fan I am of it because I use one personally. But so I'm a big guy. I'm not as big as I used to be. I've lost a little bit of weight, doing good. Wife's got me on a good little, not a workout plan. Yeah, eating well. I'm not on a workout plan yet. My hunting and running around at night is my workout. But I lost a little bit of weight. But when you're out stalking up on hogs, or if you are calling coyotes and you got a coyote running in and you got this Helion, the first thing I used to think about is, okay, where am I going to put this thing? Because I can't fit it in my pocket. My jeans are too tight. Right. So I can't put it in my back pocket, which now I can, in some of my jeans, I'm not going to lie, I can kind of slip it in my back pocket now. So lost a little bit, doing pretty good. But this is not something that is easy, what I say, to ditch, but to, find a place for in the heat of the moment. So a lot of times, like what you do, you're scanning with this monocular, and you got your rifle set up on a tripod. You might be calling pigs. You might be calling coyotes. You might just be there hanging out and seeing if something pops up, which, sometimes I'll just go stand on edge of a field and just see if anything walks out. A lot of times I've had things walk out right in front of me. But what happens is it's kind of like a panic or a rush is, okay, I've got this. now I got to do something with it, hurry up and get it on the rifle. What do I do? Where do I put it? You don't want to just throw it on the ground. So what's good about some of the other monoculars out there, mainly the Axions, the Pulsar Axions, which we've talked about a lot in the past, they were so small you could fit it in any pocket, cargo pants, side pocket, jacket pocket, back pocket, whatever. The size of these are a little bit bigger. It's a little bit heavier than some of the monoculars out there. Not as easy to ditch in the heat of the moment. You don't want to throw your $3,000 monocular in the dirt or the mud.
I want to tell a story about that since you're telling that. I don't
Okay.
know if you even remember the story, but
Probably don't.
Hans and I he was down here hunting with me and another buddy one night. And I remember we were set up. There was 3 of us on tripods. We were calling coyotes, and these coyotes came running in. And what he described was it brought this memory back. It's like, here they come. And it's like, y'all ready? Yeah. Well, I got this monocular and I don't know. I got a Helion and I didn't know what to do with it. And I was like, hang on. And he's like, you get this panic. It's this adrenaline rush. Yeah. And a lot of times I'll actually take and hang that hand strap off the yoke on my tripod or something. I was kind of hang it up there by my rifle. Well, it's just like this panic moment. Anyway, everybody's getting ready. I know they're not going to wait on me. They're going to shoot. So I don't know what to do. So I just kind of drop it at my feet. And so anyway, I don't remember what happens. We shoot, do whatever. We get done, and I got my phone out, and I'm looking down in the grass. Hans is like, "What'd you lose?" And I said, "I'm looking for my Helion." And he was like, "What do you mean you're looking for it?" I was like, "Well, I dropped it on the ground." "Why?" "Well, the coyotes were coming." He was like, "You dropped it on the ground? You just put a $3,000 monocular on the ground?" I was like, "Well, I didn't know what else to do with it. It was a panic moment." So that is an actual concern. You need to be prepared for that. You either need to have a bag on your side. You need to have a lanyard on it. You need to have something somewhere. Maybe you are going to set it on the ground, set it by your boot, but you need to be ready to do something with it.
That's true. Some people, like you said, they put lanyards on it so they'll hang a string around it and tie it to their neck. I can't do it.
I can't do it. It's
too big. I carry my rifle on my chest right here on the front, so you got this. You're fighting it all night. That'll just have me hating life, having to deal with this thing around my neck. But, what I do is a lot of times for my hunting, I'll wear just some cargo pants or something with an extra pocket, and I'll slip it down in my side of my cargo pants on the side of my pants. And although it is a dislike, the size, that doesn't mean it's a dislike that you need to go look somewhere else at another monocular, because like I said, this is something that Jason and I have hunted with for years and done
still
so
do. We both still use Helions.
Yeah,
they are our first choice of binoculars.
Exactly. And used them very successfully. Like I said, the size of it is would be the only thing that I can think of right off the top of my head that really glares out as far as a dislike.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to agree. I think that the weight and the size is a little bit of a dislike, but I will say one thing. It fits in your hand very, very well. It's extremely ergonomic, and the way that your hand lays in there with all those buttons, it is ambidextrous. I know that's something a lot of people ask about. You can use it with either hand. The buttons are just super easy to get to. You can muscle memory learn those. So in the dark, it's not a problem. I really, there's a lot to like about it. I think that, Hans said, the padded hand strap, he makes fun of me, but it's a big deal. I mean, most monoculars do not have this. And I really like being able, and I say palm it. And what I mean by that is Hans can show you on there, you can put your hand in there and you can make all 5 fingers out. And you don't have to hold it. I mean, it's just easy. You can lightly hold that thing. Whereas if you don't have a hand strap, you got to hold on to it. I mean, you can't drop it. You can't let go. Your hand's going to get tired of holding it sometimes walking around like we do. So I really like the hand strap. Again, the ergonomics, the battery life is insane. I feel like I never charge them. I mean, I just feel like I just go forever without charging them. And being able to buy a spare battery, $99 will get you another 10 or 12 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, that is crazy. I think that for guys that are hunting up north in cold weather, this is the unit. Number one, you've got the low temperature rating, but number two, you've got that long battery. So we all know that the cold weather chews these batteries up. And if you only start with 2, 3, 4 hours of battery life and you're hunting down there in these, sub 20 or teens or even 0 degree weather, you're just going to eat those batteries up. And, I talk to guys up north all the time. They're like, gosh, man, my Helion, I can just run this thing forever compared to most of these other monoculars. So I think that's a big thing. The image quality is excellent. For $29.99, $3,000, it is an absolutely great image quality. And I'm going to say something here. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rabbit trail, but I know we get this question a lot. I was emailing with a guy earlier in the week about this. He was under the impression that in like an Axion XQ38 was going to have the exact same image quality. He's like, well, it's an XQ38. I was like, all things are not created equal there. That's a nice optic as well. But I was like, number one, it's $500 less. There's a reason for that. Okay. It has a lesser image quality than the Helion. So as much as we like the Axions for the size and the weight and the ergonomics, when you move into the Helion line, that is the top of the line monocular for Pulsar. And to be honest, I'm going to say this, and I'm trying to make sure I'm not going to, exclude somebody I shouldn't, but overall for a whole product line of, 3 different monoculars, you have the XQ38, you have the XQ50 that's a 4.5 power, and then you have the XP50 that's the high resolution 2.5 power. I think this is probably the best overall, high quality group of monoculars out there. Just again, build quality, image quality, features, design. I think this is it. And so anyway, my rabbit trail, I'm going to bring this back around, is not to knock any of the other monoculars on the market, including the Axions, but image quality wise, build quality wise, we are, we hit this $3,000 mark with these Helions, and I think you're moving into a different class of monocular.
I think so too. And I've never had anybody call us up that has bought a Helion and said, man, I wish I'd have bought something else. They get their Helion and they love it. And they've never, there's something, I hear this all the time, and you probably do too. But when people call up and they're calling about optics, if I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. Buy once, cry once. And I've never heard that expression until I started doing this. But yeah,
me too. That's when everybody.
Everybody's brought that out. Buy once, cry once. People are purchasing these Helions because they are as far as thermal monoculars, pretty much the best on the market. And they want to buy this and be happy with it, not regret 6 months down the road or wish that they had gotten something else or gotten the Helion instead of what they got. So for $3,000, which $500 more than the Axion models, I feel like you're getting more than $500 worth of increased picture quality out of it. So it will remain our favorite monocular on the market for a good while until something else comes out. But yeah, I think that it is here to stay, thank goodness, and we are much happy about that. But so if we hit all the points,
yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, just say overall, Hans, I think, put a bow on that. We do like the Helions. I think this is a great unit. I'm just going to reiterate this one more time. If you're hunting on bigger fields, I think this is a very, very good optic for you. Again, 3-year warranty. Pulsar is known for the quality, and I think they deliver with the Helion. And when Hans was talking about how much we love the Helion, he's not talking about just this model. I mean, it's all the models. He and I are even still using an old discontinued model. We're using the XP38 that has been gone for I don't even know how long, probably over 2 years.
Yeah.
But we love it. We love the magnification. We love the image quality. And we use the XP50 as well. We like those. We really like the little lower magnification for what we do. But overall, I do think value for the dollar. This is a very good monocular. May not make a lot of sense if you've got a $2,500 scope or a $3,000 scope. Like, man, I don't want a monocular that costs more than my scope. And I understand that, but there's a lot of guys that are running $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 scopes, and they want a monocular that's going to complement that.
Absolutely.
And I think that the Helion, and specifically, I think the XQ38 for the dollar is a very good value.
Or people out there that are running a night vision scope that say, hey, you know what? I'm shooting with a night vision scope, but I want to run a good quality monocular. We get people like that all the time. So the great news, we're recording this June 2021. Folks, we have them in stock, and they're not going to last long.
We never say that. We never
say it. We've got them in stock right now. They're not going to last long, but you can find everything. You can find this on the website, outdoorlegacygear.com. I'm going to say it again, outdoorlegacygear.com. Just search on there, Helion 2, the Helion 2 XQ38. It may show up on there on the website as Helion 2 XQ38F. I think the technical.
The F is the F actually means that it's the fixed lens. That's what that F's for. You were trying to take the lens off earlier and you can't because the lens is fixed.
Right. So search on there Helion 2 XQ38, outdoorlegacygear.com. If you want to call, if you'd rather buy, you don't like buying stuff online. If you'd rather call and buy it, you can call 877-350-1818, 877-350-1818. You can find Jason on all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Outdoor Legacy or Outdoor Legacy Gear. And you can find me over at Instagram at Hans ETX. That's Hans ETX. Hans is not my real name. It is a terrible nickname and one that that I get for the rest of my life because of family. But you just got to embrace it sometimes. But yeah, Hans ETX and YouTube, Hans ETX. This week I'm going to be posting or uploading my full review of the Thermion 2 XP50. So the Pulsar Thermion 2 XP50 is going to be my first hunts with the scope, and also the full review. Got a bunch of coyote hunting videos in there. Got some hog hunting videos as well, so you can be able to check that out very, very soon. And if you are wanting to find all of our past episodes of the Late Night Vision Show, you can do so on theLateNightVisionShow.com. You can find all 161 previous episodes to this right there listed out on the website. And we appreciate you watching. We appreciate you listening. Please give us good reviews on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. That really helps us when it comes to being ranked in our search results. So anytime, if you get on there and give us a 5-star rating or even leave a positive comment, that really helps us out. We really appreciate it. And if you do it, you're helping out the night vision and hog hunting world grow even more than it already is. And that's good for everybody. So thank you all very much.
Absolutely. So, one more quick thing I want to say is that we do appreciate y'all watching the show every week. It means a lot to Hans and I. We appreciate your support. And so if you've got anything that you'd like to hear us talk about, any kind of a topic, or, maybe you've just got a question that you don't necessarily want answered in a one sentence, answer in the comments. Maybe it's like, hey, I'd like to know this, or I'd like to know that. Hey, leave it in the comments below. Say, hey, here's a show topic, or here's a question, you can answer sometime on your show. We might not do it next week. It may be something that we just kind of add to a list. We bring it up sometime, whatever, but we're always looking for topics. We don't want to just talk about things that Hans and I want to talk about. We want to talk about things that y'all are interested in, that the listeners, maybe just have questions about, or whatever it is. So,
man, you're just opening Pandora's box right there, I think.
Well, hey, I didn't say we guarantee we're going to answer, but we'll try. So,
I think it's going to be. Everybody will check out the comment section, because I think it's going to be. It's going to get pretty spicy in there to see what comes up.
I'm sure. All right, but folks, we do appreciate y'all coming back every week. We plan to be here next week as well. So between now and then, Y'all stay safe in the fields and keep making those bacon pancakes.